And with that familiar intro, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and welcome to another live episode of Candid Conversations about network marketing with me, my co-host.
Thanks, PK. Thanks, everyone.
And Dr. Wayne is with us as usual every week. He has been uh, s- solid co-host and the content provider for this thing. Without him, the show would not go on.
I
So
think it
today we
takes
are
two of
kind
us,
of
mate. I think it takes two of us.
yeah, I'm kind of like the perpetual student, so I provide the student point of view, right? I'm happy to do that. In fact, I find that's one of the fun things for me. Learning, right? Learning is actually very enjoyable for me, and to understand that I do not know everything, and I don't need to know everything, right? And then when I learn something new and it can apply to my whether it's in my business life or my personal life, I enjoy it. And I think we talked about this before, Dr. Wayne, that many often at times we don't, like, for example, if you think of a success as a combination lock, then there are six combination buttons on the lock, right? It's not like we have all six missing. We only have, most of the time, most of us have five. We are just missing that one last number, right? And a lot of things that we talk about, or some of the things I learn in oftentimes in many situations, is kind of like the last digit of the combination I require. And hopefully we are doing the same for you.
Yeah, it's very true. And it's even with seminars that I go to, I don't know how many seminars I have to go to because I have to look at CPE points for once upon a time acupuncture, herbalism, naturopathy. So there's all these things I had to do and still do today, especially for naturopathy. And wellness. And when I go to a seminar, if I can walk away with that one thing, it can mean a huge difference. And I know I've been to, I can think of probably three distinct moments where I took away one thing and it literally turned my business into another $100,000 quite easily. So it's listening for that one thing, as you said, just that extra bit of that number to unlock that combination lock that you already got is so important, and that's why it's so important to talking about network marketing. That's what we're here for, to help really really help this industry to move forward. We believe it's the cleanest industry you can be in, and we're going to go a deeper dive into that today because that's one of the third questions. But I'll get to that shortly, or the third question. Um, it's it's um, it's going to the seminars, going to listening to the webinars, going to your leaders, and what at this particular time we mightn't be able to do the one-to-one, but do the Zoom. Be there because just that one thing can make a huge difference. Huge difference.
Yeah, and it's always that unexpected moment sometimes. It happens in
Yeah,
this.
it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it comes. I guess in many ways, very interestingly, that the universe knows that you need something and
Yeah.
knows when to give it to you when you need it more often than uh, you know more often than not, right? So you kind of just need to show up. You kind of just need to
Yes.
show up. If you show up, uh, that thing will present itself to you. Whether is it through a person, through your upline leaders, through a book, through an audible, through a live stream like this, through a podcast like this, through a workshop that you attend, to a seminar, right? So
Yes.
the most important thing is show up, right? If you show up, the missing number, the missing digit, or missing number to the combination log will show up for you, right?
Yes. And here's an interesting way of looking at it that I don't even think we've spoken about, BK. We have in a way, but I've never put it in this way. So if we look at the law number one, which is the law of mentalism, and the law of mentalism basically states that we are one step away from all the information the universe has at its fingertips. So think of it like we have 99% of all the information within us. We have these frequencies within us, and what we're looking for is the unveiling or the releasing of these frequencies. And it's like the theme that we started with, and we didn't even know we were going to talk about this, but it's fantastic when it does, when it happens, so synchronicity. So when the information drops in, that is that missing combination lock, what happens then is it's like we get a download. We basically move and we hear things differently, and now we attune and aspire to another level. And it's not that the information has never been there. It's always been there. It's within us. And what happens is it's been unmasked. It's been revealed. It's there. And the more that we can understand this principle, the more we can tap into this unified field that has all knowledge, which is the law of mentalism. And as we've said before in other podcasts, for those who are new on board, in quantum physics, this is the 5th, 6th, and 7th, 8th, around those particular dimensions where they talk about the information field. So this is the information fields that we all have accessibility to once we shed the egoic side of who we are and allow ourselves to be, which is fantastic. It's already there. All we've got to do is tap into it. Yeah,
I think some time ago I kind of use an analogy of a radio station and a radio.
Yeah.
Those of us who are at least, let's say, I think born before the 80s, maybe 70s. If you are younger than that, then you may not played around with a real radio player, and there are knobs, right? You got to kind of move the knobs to move the frequency dial. Say a radio station is supposed to be 90.5, right? 90.5. That's the precise frequency. Now these days it's all digital, so you can literally press 90.5, so you won't experience the things that we have experienced, right? So in the days of old, where you have to move the dial, which is a physical dial, and it's kind of mechanical, you realize that before you hit 90.5, when you're at 90 or 89.5, or maybe you've overshot and you're at 91, you kind of can tune in to the radio station. You kind of can hear what is going on in the radio station, but the reception is not pristine. It's not clean. It's not the best reception you get. But once you reach the sweet spot of exactly 90.5, and that's when everything becomes crystal clear, right? So it's exactly like what Dr. Wing was saying, that the broadcast, the 90.5 radio station's broadcast was always there, right?
Yeah.
It was always there. It's in the air. It's going on. It's live, right? And as you got nearer to 90.5, it got clearer and clearer, right? But if you were not at 90.5, you were at 90, you were at 89.5, you could still hear it, but it's just not clear, right?
Yeah.
And once you hit 90.5, then all of a sudden you realize, oh, actually, it is crystal clear. In fact, for radio, it is moderately high definition. Before the days of all of us having like very high-end, high-definition audio from, say, Spotify or Apple Music, where it's high definition, CD quality. In those days, actually, we were enjoying the music just as it was, right? Even though it was just coming from the airwaves, right? It was still it was good enough for most of us, right? But of course, it's now all high definition, CD quality downloads and so on nowadays.
And the analogy is for us as well. Like the more that we tune in to these frequencies, the more specific we can then acknowledge that new information. And so it's kind of like maybe there's more steps, but 3 simple steps in what we're talking about is there's an understanding. So an understanding might mean, I've got this general feeling of what it's like. It's an understanding. It might be, like as you said before, it might be 89.5 BK, and then you have this belief, this understanding, because you keep on looking, and the reticular activation system in the brain now actually alerts you to more things that are aligned to that understanding. Then all of a sudden it can become a belief. I believe this is to be true. So now we might be 90.4 on the dial. We're getting closer, and all of a sudden you just know. When you know, you're actually at that frequency. There is nothing that's going to bend, and it's truth. Okay, it's utter truth. Once you know something, and this is dialing into that 90.5 on the frequency dial, and we have all the information within us. We have everything that allows us to be successful is within us. We just got to shed all the stuff, all the subconscious beliefs, and let them drop away. And then what happens then is now we're able to tap into that 99% of who we are that is truth. And we know that truth. All we've got to do is shed that 1%. But for a lot of us, that 1% is a huge, huge, huge weight, something that we really don't understand. And this is another reason why, BK and I put together this podcast, because we believe every network marketing company out there does a brilliant job in tools. And you even have some of the best mentors that you can tap into in your downline and upline. Because sometimes in your downline, you'll actually have brilliant mentors that are actually doing incredibly well, and same in your upline as well. You have all these tools, but unfortunately, what we've found is that it's the 6 inches between our ears that becomes the challenge. And that's where we want to break down some of these myths and open up the mind to receive the information that is already within you to help you to achieve whatever it may be. So here's the burning question that we believe is on everyone's network marketing lips. There's 3 of them. Why are others doing so well and you may feel stuck? The next question is why are others building their network marketing business easily without bugging their family, friends, and loved ones? That's a huge one, a huge ask, huge question that gets asked a lot. And the third one is, and why are some people's teams actively recruiting like roaring lions, is the analogy we give, and my team seems to be asleep and unfortunately recruiting like sloths in that analogy. These are the burning questions that BK and I are often asked, and what we want to do is give you the answers. And in our last week, we looked at questions. We had 3 questions that were constantly asked, and they're very similar to the 3 questions that I just spoke about. But the 3 questions we specifically looked at last week, which we only got 2 of them completed. Number 1 was, how do I move forward when I feel overwhelmed? And the second question was about, I know I need a plan B in this weird economy at present, but I'm unsure if network marketing is for me. And we went into a deep dive into those 2 questions. So if you missed it, you can catch it with the you can catch it by going back and looking in our archives, and BK will go through that shortly, that's for sure. And what we want to look at now is, how do I find a company that resonates with who I am? So there may be some of you right now who are just finding that there's been some changes or some interesting things that's happening in your company, and you might be looking at a change. There might be other people out there right now who are trying to find out, like question 2 stated, I know I need a plan B, but how do I pick I'm unsure if network marketing is for me. And so, you might be just sitting on the edge thinking, well, is network marketing for me? Do I really want to do this? And this is where we're going to go into a deep dive today. How do I find a company that resonates with who I am? So I suppose just going back a little bit, in terms of network marketing, maybe that's where we'll start, just to finish off what we talked about last week, BK, as well, with regards to, I'm just bringing up, in terms of whether you feel network marketing is for you or not. So let's just look at what the experts say. So if we look at, and I'm very big on looking at the past. When I'm looking at health, I answer any questions through the filter of at least 4,000 years of ancient medicine. So, for example, if someone said to me, what do you think of fasting? I'd look at through the filter of ancient medicine, and the filter of ancient medicine says fasting has been used for thousands of years. It is one of the best things we can do for our health. And there are different ways of fasting, that's for sure. But in a general context, fasting is brilliant for our health. Okay, so what I'm looking at here is, what do the experts say about network marketing? And if we're looking at if we're looking at marketing per se, what we do know is the best way to get your message across, whether it be through SEO or online, or whether it's through email or posters or newsletter or whatever way of getting leads in, what we know from statistics is word of mouth is the best. We know that if you have friends, they'll be asking you, for example, what's a restaurant you like to go to? What's the plumber? If people find it stuck, or they feel stuck in terms of finding the person that they need, they'll basically be asking their friends. So we know that word of mouth is, from statistic, the best way of getting your message across. And guess what network marketing is all about? Word of mouth. It's recommending a product. How true that is, BK.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. It is the most organic way of advertising, right? In the past,
Yeah.
since the beginning of time, right? You would ask your friends, is this
Yeah.
good? Did you like it? How was it, right? Or you would tell your friends if you found something, and then, it's so natural when we come across something that let's say a restaurant or a movie or a book that we have read, the first instinct is you're going to tell your friends, at least people you like, right? You're going to tell the people you like. You want them to share in your joy, in your discovery, right? Let's say you try a new steakhouse and it's amazing, and your friends who like steak, you will tell them, hey, this is going to be, this is great. I enjoyed it. And it's a very natural human thing for us to want to share, as well as for us to ask our friends, right? So that's why it's the best, most organic way.
And the interesting thing is, where I am now in my clinic, our clinic is nearly a referral-only clinic. And I've known of many, many people, many practitioners, and even other like spas, etc., that are referral only. You can only get in if you actually have a piece of paper saying you've been referred by a past client. So that's taking it to another level. But looking at what we're just talking about here, what we're talking about is word of mouth or referral is the best way of getting your message across. And of course, network marketing is all about that. The next interesting thing about what do the experts say is around the major billion-dollar industries in order in terms of how much money is per year goes through each one of these industries. So think of the NFL in America, so the football league over in America, and that's at $14 billion per year. The next one you'd think is the music industry. The music industry is around the $18 billion per year. Okay, $4 billion more than NFL. And then we have the next one then is the movie industry, $41 billion. So now we're talking $23 billion more than the music industry. The next is organic products, is $45 billion. And it's interesting, I'll get into more of this a little bit later. One of the books I read in early 2000s was the next $1 trillion industry will be the wellness industry. And when I read that and followed what was suggested, back then, organic products was not as huge as 45 billion, that's for sure. But today it is. Video gaming, 108 billion. So if we go from organic products to video gaming, we're looking at a $60 billion increase. That's huge. Organic products to video gaming. And the interesting one from video gaming, the next major industry that is nearly double is the network marketing industry at $200 billion per year. And it's interesting that the network marketing industries pays out over 200 million plus in commissions per day. That's not a year or anything like that. That's per day. They're pretty incredible statistics, aren't they, BK?
Yeah, it is amazing. And sometimes when we don't, if you have never encountered numbers like this, you might not have understood it. You might have, like, for example, before I saw these numbers, I always thought that the movie industry was huge, right?
Yeah.
I never thought that the gaming industry was bigger than the movie industry, right? Right.
Or even organic products like just food.
Yeah. So those are amazing numbers, right? But of course, everything pales in comparison with the industry that you are involved with or you are thinking of getting involved with. It is, as an industry, it is highly profitable, as well as a very large industry, and is massive. It's almost double that of the gaming industry. If you think gaming was
Yeah.
was huge, network marketing is double, almost double the size
Double that.
of the
Yeah.
gaming industry, right? And so it's just mind-boggling sometimes when you think about it.
Yeah, yeah, and it certainly blows everything out of the water in terms of those people who think it's a Ponzi or a pyramid scheme. So if $200 million is being paid out in commissions per day, it's
And
certainly
also,
blows that out of the water.
yeah,
Out of the water.
definitely. But and also another interesting statistic that you might not be aware of, or you may not. I mean, if you notice these industries, like for example, if you look at the NFL or the movie industry, then you notice that actually a large portion of the money is in the hands of the top performers. Right? I mean, like the
Yes.
A class, the
Yeah.
A-list actors, and so on, right? Uh,
Yes.
but network marketing as an industry, it is a equal opportunity kind of industry where you will notice that actually a large percentage of people, at least people who are putting in the effort that they want, I mean that is required to properly build a business, they are actually earning, right? Earning from the industry. Of course, there are still A-list performers, but that's normal in any industry. And these people, they are usually the hardest working people in the entire industry, right? They work the hardest. They really put in the hours to make sure they build a very extensive team. But the
Yeah.
beauty of this industry is that if you aim to be the A-list performer, you can, right? You just have to put in the same level of effort and follow in the footsteps of these people. But if you look at the other industries, you might not be able to break through to the A-list, level unless you are exceptionally good looking. you know, you could exceptionally talented in some ways, right? But network marketing doesn't require that from you. Of course, if you are, it's a bonus, but it doesn't require you to be like that.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. Very true. So, from there, what do experts say? So, let's look at some of the experts in terms of people who recommend network marketing. Of course, Robert Kiyosaki is one of the major people who recommends it. So, one of his quotes is, "The richest people in the world look for and build networks. Everyone else looks for work." How true that is. Even Warren Buffett is a big fan of network marketing, invests heavily in it as well. Richard Branson is a big fan of network marketing. Tony Robbins is another one. He loves the power of network marketing as well. And I said before that I'll get back to the gentleman known as Paul Zane Pilser, who wrote the book, The Next Revolution, or the Wellness Revolution being the next $1 trillion industry. And that was written, as said, in the early 2000s. He's the author of 9 best-selling books. He was Citibank's youngest vice president at the age of 25. He was a professor at the New York University at age 24, economic advisor in 2 US presidential administrations. And this is his quote: "I see great opportunities coming for network marketing industry because network marketing is clearly the best vehicle we have today in the United States and around the world to educate people about new products and services." And he's actually predicting that if you combine the wellness industry and network marketing, it is the next $1 trillion industry. So I'll just say that again. If you combine wellness and network marketing, it is the next $1 trillion industry. And some people may even say that we're pretty close in terms of when you combine the two. But if we look at network marketing with wellness, it's going to be a $1 trillion industry. So it's pretty phenomenal. It's a great time to be in this industry because if you look at demographics at this particular time, demographically, we are seeking health. This is why we're seeing it everywhere today. If you're looking at any of your ads on Facebook or Instagram, or whether it be YouTube, we're getting inundated with health today. So we're in a great opportunity at present, BK. It's just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, and of course, if you happen to be catching us in the year 2021, because this will be archived for posterity, right? You might be listening to us maybe
Yeah,
in the future, right? So if you happen to be listening to us live and watching us live right now, just comment and let us know so we know that you're live, right? That's one thing you can do. And of course, if you have
yeah,
questions,
lovely.
please do. Happy to answer any questions that you may have, right? So what is going on in the world right now, it even exacerbates the desire. It actually heightens the desire for people to seek wellness because what's going on right now, people are concerned,
Yes,
people are aware that, compared to, say, monetary wealth, your health is actually more important these days, right? Because you never know what you're going to be hit with if you happen to be, unfortunately contract something, right? So, in a sense, you are in a perfect storm, right? Unfortunately, we will definitely want this to be over very soon as it can. But you kind of are in a perfect storm kind of scenario where people are looking for good wellness solutions, and you will notice that a lot of network marketing companies actually have very good, very solid, very science-based, and sometimes breakthrough science um,
yes,
wellness products, right? And you definitely have a role to play to kind of help people to encounter them. Now, because the thing is, if these companies decided to go the traditional route and put it in a store and set up shop and all those things, right? The cost of products will be inflated. It will go up even higher, right? And so,
yeah,
therefore, choosing a network marketing distribution model, it keeps the cost as low as possible for the end user, but yet maintaining a premium on the quality of those products, right? So
yes,
it's the wonderful marriage of efficiency as well as cost efficiency for everybody. So, and of course, these days, most of us are not able to be as walk around so much in town, go shopping. Even if you want to go retail, you can't, right? So it is actually a perfect model as of this era and time and age. Unusually.
yes. And being in this industry for over 30 years within the wellness industry, one of the things that I really like about it, just expanding on what you said there as well, BK, is when we were able to go around and do seminars and that. And as you know, I've been over to Singapore and through Malaysia, and even went up to Thailand and even up to Taiwan, and even all through Australia. One of the things that really, really was heartfelt to me in terms of doing the seminars, people would then come up to me and say, "Hey, Wayne, I know you don't know me, and I know that you're not in my downline or anything like that. But I just want to say thank you for coming out and giving all this information about XYZ product because it's changed my family's life. We were once looking at serious health complications where we may have lost my father, my sister, whoever it may have been, even the person standing in front of me. But now that has been reversed, or you hear the story of the person who had serious health challenges that are now, as mentioned, just totally not there anymore. And it's pretty incredible when you can influence, not when you talk to someone that then can influence hundreds of people because they keep referring other people. And all of a sudden, like, I would never have been able to, even as a wellness practitioner and even being booked out for 3 months in advance and being extremely busy, I would never have been in contact with the hundreds and if not thousands of people that are now in my downline all over the world that are now improving their health because of such a great product. And it's just so inspiring and health and heartfelt when that happens, because you're able now to be of influence to a lot more people because of the network marketing model.
It's kind of a slight diversion from the topic today, like of how to choose a network marketing company. But I mean, to be honest, what happened for me is that I've been involved with in a few different industries. I've been in business for myself and so on, right? But I have to say that because of exactly like what Dr. Wayne has shared, right? Because of my involvement with the company I'm with right now and the things we can do for people, uh, it is deeply, deeply satisfying. Deeply, deeply satisfying, And in fact, I was just telling a friend that the word I would use is humbling, because
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
humbling to kind of know that because of my involvement, I've been able to help a particular young child, somebody's mother, and so on down the line, right? A ripple effect on it's kind of like
Yeah.
when you drop a pebble into a river and then it ripples out. So because of that one decision I made about 3 years ago, and then because I did that, uh, the lives of these people were changed for the better,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so it's actually very humbling to know that I have been in an instrument to help these people, right? And it gives me tremendous. It is if you have never experienced it, I would recommend that you try it, right? You try it, and then once you experience it, you know that it is probably one of the most satisfying. If you want to think of it as a job or as a business, and an economic activity, right? It is probably one of the most satisfying ones.
Yes. 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 So hopefully that's helped just to look at the network marketing industry in terms of stats, etc. So how do you choose a company to partner with? That's the question that we want to look at. And I believe there's four things. There's probably more that we might chat about, but four important things that we've got to look at. And the first thing to look at is the ethos of the company. So the ethos to myself, when I'm looking at even partnering with practitioner only products or partnering with different affiliates that in the health space, for example, I want to make sure that the ethos of the company is strong. I want to make sure that they are someone who gives back, and they do everything that allows you to feel good about working with that particular company. And that was so important when I looked at the network marketing company that we're involved with, or should we start calling it next level marketing, which I think is a very apt name as well. And the ethos blew me away. So what should happen, whichever company you look at, the ethos should blow you away. It should really, really stand out as something that you can put your hat on, because you'll know that that company will still be there in the next 30, 40, 50, 100 years. Because if it hasn't got a strong ethos, and I'll say that again, if it hasn't got a strong ethos, that company will not be around in the next 5 to 10 years. It will certainly dissolve itself, because the ethos will actually it'll break itself down.
It's kind of like the book by Simon Sinek, right? Start with why. And in many cases, if you look at the big companies in the world, especially those who have reached the unicorn status, where they are all massive industries, massive companies that impact many lives, they all started with a very deep-seated why and how they want to serve the world. So when you are looking at a company right now, this would be something that you may want to think about, right?
Yeah.
And if the company is setting out itself to better the world in a way that has never been done before, then that's probably a company I would like to be partnered with, right? Because once you understand that,
Yes.
and then when you look at the of people in the company and what they believe in and what they are trying to do, uh, that would be one of the considerations. For myself, I when I looked at the ethos of a company, what was interesting for me was that how much our company wanted to focus on people, right?
Yeah.
And also understanding people, right? So when you focus on people and you help to grow your people, in naturally it will grow the company. In fact, if you think about another large company in the world, which is a Chinese company called Alibaba, right? And the entrepreneur in question is Ma Yun. What you will notice about him as he gives a lot of speeches is that he talks a lot about empowering his people and growing his people, right? So that kind of struck a note with me as well when we were looking at this company. That is exactly what we try to do. we try to make sure that we treat our people the best, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Well said, BK. And it's one of the most. That's why it's right at the top. Number one, it's the most important thing to look at when you're wanting to choose a network marketing company. And I believe from statistics, I think there's over 3,000 network marketing companies you can choose from. So there's a lot of choice out there. So number two that I look for is ensuring that you're going to go into a network marketing company that has disruptive technology. And the importance of this is you just don't want to go into a company whereby what is being sold is very typical. You want something that is disruptive, atypical. You want something that is different. Because if you go into the marketplace with something, especially in the wellness industry, that is being sprouted for the last 10 years or so, unfortunately, what's going to happen is that once again, that company may not last as long as what you would like. So you want something that is going to be disruptive, something that is really going to change the world. So think of, you could think of, for example, the horse going to, the car, then the car going to the aeroplane going to a rocket ship. So they're all different disruptive technologies, that's for sure. Think of what's another one, the LP records going to CD, for example, then going to Spotify, okay, and even going to YouTube, for example. So think of a disruptive technology and what we're looking at, especially with what we've said so far, is looking at a disruptive technology within the health space, which is really important as well.
Exactly.
Sorry, mate, go on.
No, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So we want something that's one of a kind. We want something that is cutting edge, massive demand with high impact and validated, and also has patents. You want something that basically has rolling patents, so that if you know that it's a proprietary blend or a proprietary product that you're looking at, you don't want those patents running out at the same time, and then all of a sudden everyone has that availability to that technology. So all this is really, really important to understand as well. So that's number two. So number three is be in the early momentum stage. And typically, even when I'm looking at practitioner-only products, I rarely get involved with a company that's only been around in the first 5 years or so. So look at a company that's been around for about 5 years, because you then know that they are solid. They've passed that dubious stage, or where things can actually unfortunately fold. And we want to still be in the early momentum as well. So think of a hockey stick. Okay, so when a company starts out, they may start out here, and what typically happens is they'll actually go down a little bit, and then they'll actually come back up, and you still want to be in this early momentum as it's coming up. Now, the best company, and luckily that is the one that we're looking at, or the one we're in as well, it basically started off, and from there it went this way. It didn't do the hockey stick, so to speak. It basically crept up very gradually. But where you want to be in any company cycle in network marketing is in the early momentum. You don't want to be at the end of the hockey stick, whereby the company has been around for a long time. Now, that part's okay if it's still a disruptive technology. However, if it's a company that has typical types of products, you can find it's going to be a hard sell, a very, very hard sell.
I mean, some other common words that you hear would be things like get involved in the sunrise industry or sunset industry.
Yeah.
If you other things you may hear would be like a J curve, start of the J curve, and things like that, right? So, of course, there are advantages in different scenarios. I mean, for example, if you are at the top of the curve, then it's obviously a very stable industry, and the demand is, I mean, it's a stable industry, but you might find that there would be a lot more competition in a sense, because there would be more people, and of course the consumer penetration has already been there, right? But
Yeah.
if you are looking to grow with a company and to ride the wave, think of things like if you caught Bitcoin when it was like few cents, right? And you rode the wave, and then obviously now you're is on a slightly higher part of the growth, right? And then or you bought shares of Apple Computer before it's Apple Computer today, right? So that is the kind of idea that Dr. Wayne is talking about, and it's the same for a lot of companies. Now, depending on your risk appetite, some people like to join
Yeah.
pure, I mean, 100% new startups.
Yeah.
If your risk appetite allows you to do that, by all means, right? But you just understand that most companies fail within the first 3 to 5 years, right? Most companies fail. The proof of concept may not. Sometimes it may not just even be the proof of concept. It may just be that a market is not ready for that technology. So, but a safe time frame for you would be to look for a company that had at least gone past the first 3 to 5 years. It is now in the early growth, early momentum stage. So at least the proof of concept has already been done, and then you are now partnering with them at a much lower risk but a much higher upside, right? So these are the things that you have to consider. Now, of course, if you have questions about how to really go into depth into all this, please feel free to ask, and we're happy to kind of talk a little bit more into this as well.
Yeah.
Today we are
Yeah.
just touching on some of the concepts, and maybe another time we could give you more, right?
Yes. 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 And the last one then is profitability. So make sure that the company you're about to go into is profitable, because you don't want to go into a sinking ship, so to speak. Really, really important to make sure that company is profitable. But as we started with right at the beginning, looping back to number one, if they're putting profit above ethos, then that is another way of stepping out. Don't go, probably that company may not suit you. Profitability is important because you want to make sure that that company has the ability to grow. Because if you're in the momentum stage, look at what have they got available to actually grow in terms of, their facilities. Have they got the growth? Have they got the land? Have they got the ability to grow the facilities? Have they got the growth to be the ability then to be able to upscale their team, for example? Okay, really important one. Profitability. I don't think we have to spend too much time on that one, BK. But the caveat to this is, if profitability is above ethos, you may tread very lightly or gently with that particular company. We want ethos to be that number one, whereby when you're walking into that company, you can feel that they want you to improve your inner being, your inner self, and you want to go out with a product, a disruptive technology that allows you now to help others. And they're putting people first, not money first. Very important caveat distinction.
Yeah, people before profits.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
But you also must have profits, right? In fact, the word we use is it is criminal. It is criminal for a corporation to not be profitable, right? I mean, you kind of want your company that you are involved with to also pay a very close attention to the profit line, because
Mm.
if a company is not profitable, it means that sooner or later they will fall, they will close, they will go bankrupt or something like that, right? And that impacts your business. So you want to partner with a company that keeps a very close eye on making sure they are profitable, therefore they can stay open and and stay operational for as long as as maybe for multi generations, right? I mean, that's what you want, right? You don't want just
Yeah.
for your generation. You want it to be lasting, maybe even for your children and your children's children and stuff like that, right?
Yes. Yes.
But like what Dr. Wayne was saying, there's a very fine line, between a company that's so profit driven and ignores everything else, right? Versus a company that puts people before the profits, right? But still pays attention to the profits. Once you find that kind of combination, you're in a good place, right? And there are companies like that. many companies like that
Most
out there.
definitely. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is definitely a very good place to be in.
And I think that concludes it all, BK. So the four once again is ethos, disruptive technology, early momentum, and then profitability. But ethos being the most important. So I just want to thank everyone for being a part of the podcast. And if you're watching it on YouTube, wherever you may be watching it and listening, thank you very much. Hopefully you've got heaps out of it today, and we look forward to next week.
And if you want to catch us, or you want to jump right in and dive into the things that we talked about universal laws, we have a program at 5hiddenreasons.com. That's the numerical number 5. If you're watching us, you can see the banner just below. It's at 5hiddenreasons.com. Of course, if you want to catch the other episodes or last week's episode where we actually went through the first 2 questions that's frequently asked by listeners and viewers, then please check us out at networkmarketerpodcast.com. Once again, the link is just below if you happen to be watching this on the video, right? So once again, thank you, Dr. Wayne, and we will see you next week.
Thanks, everyone. Bye for now.